Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Books and Bullshit, where the topics are made up and your opinions don't matter. You know me, Zachary Chopchinsky, USA Today best-selling author, the Bowtie author, here with the Witch of the Dark, the Queen of Stark, USA Today best-selling author, Martina McAtee, and apparently fucking Click Clack McGee. Martina, say hi to our fans. Click Clack, you good?
Hey, everybody. You totally missed it. As soon as Layla went, go, he went like this. Just looked at me like, I'm about to fuck up all your shit, lady.
Okay, Charlie, come up here. Come here,
baby.
Charlie.
Come on.
Come here. Are you just going to sit there and whine
I'm
like
using
that?
your dog to call mine. I'm like, come here. Come here. Charlie, get up here. Come on. Or you're going out there.
Charlie, come here.
He's fine. Why are you? He's fine.
Because he's going to start seal barking at you. Just wait.
Here he comes. I can see it now, you bastard. Yeah, why are you using my dog to call your dog? My dog is sitting leaning up against Martina, and she's like patting like you would pat your thigh, but she's like thump patting my dog's
Because
chest.
he's got
like,
good acoustics.
He does have good acoustics.
He makes really good thumps.
He's a good thumper.
He is. And now my dog is licking the pillow.
God, we need it. He just goes around licking windows and paint, doesn't
Oh,
he?
God, he's just sad,
Loki,
sad.
come here. Loki, come here.
Oh, I'm sorry. God, his eyes are so brown, it looks like he's just got two holes in his head. It's freaking me out. Stop looking at me.
All right, so anyway, we're here to talk about books and bullshit. Specifically, this is the part 2 continuation of our previous episode where we're getting a little bit more into the different aspects that are rolled into this whole hashtag copy paste Chris, the author formerly known as that bitch.
Yes, and as you can see, we rolled straight in with the bullshit. Get that out of the way.
Sorry, we're in here with 3 fucking dogs, and one of them is standing like an awkward horse over a body.
And one of them's pouting, and the other one's sleeping.
Like the big dumb cow he is. You take too long to take pictures. You know they're not camera ready.
Charlie's like, I'm a
Loki.
big dumb cow too.
What's up, buddy? What are you doing? You gonna come over here? You gonna stay
He's
over
like,
there?
I have conquered this land for Spain.
This land is our land. This little land of mine.
Loki's gonna plant a flag on Levi.
I'm gonna touch him with my dick.
That's him with
You
everything.
gonna lay down? I'm waiting to see how this plays out. Loki, will you lay down or something?
My dog's like, yeah, man. Why you gotta be ruining everything?
Loki down. Sorry,
He's
guys.
like, Loki stands.
It's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's just get back into our recordings while my dog awkwardly looks at me. So anyway, so today, Martina, as a continuation, what aspect are we going to talk about today?
So we are going to just hop into making a lot of people mad and talk right about the ghostwriting aspect of this whole shenanigans.
So
Sorry, gotta adjust myself here. And by that I mean my whole body, not myself as in
my junk,
my junk.
that's me.
That non-existent junk.
Little tug and a pull and a comb to the side. We're all set. So, Martina, for the uninitiated and the unknowing in our audience, what is a ghostwriter? And it's not a dead author.
I mean, that's the
disappointed to
only
find out. Yeah.
Like, I mean, there are ghostwriters.
The only acceptable ghostwriters are those that have come back from the dead and possess the living.
which would be fucking awesome.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But they would write some stupid bullshit like a recoming of Twilight or something.
Well,
Like, that would be our luck. is
If I
what I'm
made plenty
saying.
of money, I'd be okay with that.
All right, everybody get ready. There we go.
He was adjusting his mic. He wasn't being possessed by the fucking ghost of a author.
Like I was like I feel like if I was, I would just say some dumb shit, but I'd make it sound like it was a language. Like I would be like, "Oh, pate chief, ine chuck."
Tongues. Sorry, what?
Yeah. That's a cartoon from back in the day. It was Apache Chief.
So you're just getting right into the offensive shit.
All cartoons were offensive back in the day. But anyway, ghostwriters.
Ghostwriters are writers who write under... Basically, they sell their work so that somebody else can publish it. But that's not really true, because ghostwriters are hired for a lot of reasons. Sometimes they're hired to sort of fix a book that's already written. Sometimes they are...
In which case, they're basically a content editor.
Right. But a lot of times also they will take a book they're like book doctors, they call them. Like sometimes somebody has to like throw a book out there and they don't have enough time, or something goes wrong in their lives, like they have an injury, an illness, whatever, and the ghostwriter will kind of come in and pick up where they left off and finish things off. VC Andrews, she's been dead for years. She still publishes books. That's a ghostwriter. Nancy Drew, ghostwriter. Those were pretty some notorious, basically, ghostwriters. James Patterson, he ghostwrites his books, but he puts the ghostwriter on the cover, so more like a co-writer kind of thing.
And that's personally, there's so much you get into this, and I really don't know where to start first.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start this one, like I kind of said last time, and I understand that there's different premises, and we're gonna go over a lot of those different uses of a ghostwriter and what we feel about them. But I have, on principle, in relation to the whole hashtag copy and paste Chris, I do not like how she utilized the ghostwriter, because in that case, she didn't write that book. An author is somebody that writes a book, a novel, a piece, something like that. It's actually as it's defined. If you did not write it, you're not the author. And that ghostwriter should be given that credit, not you. I'm sorry. That's how I feel. You did not earn that accolade. You did not write that book. You basically sold somebody a premise, which is what one of the things that happens is elevator speech idea for a book, bam, ghostwriter, knock that shit out for me, which I actually have affiliates and other author friends that are doing that right now. I love you guys, I mean it, but you should be getting the credit for it. I'm not knocking what you do, but if you're writing the book, your name should be on it as like a co-written type thing. I don't think that it should just be, hey, I'm Zach, I paid somebody to write this book for me, now my name's slapped on it. Like I said, we're going to go over different aspects of this premise, but that's kind of...
I just didn't know why Layla gave you the finger. Like, I don't know if that was about to say something stupid,
no.
Or if that was I want to interject.
I think it's an interject. Is it an interject, Curtains? Do you want to interject?
Curtains?
I hate when you do that.
Say that into the microphone.
I hate when you do that. I hate when you do that. All of a sudden, she gets super shy. If you turn that microphone back around, she's like, yeah, and another thing. Like, you put the microphone in front of her, and she's like, hi.
Giggles McGee over there. Okay, giggle shits. Let's switch guys.
I went from Fat Funky Scroll to Giggle Shits.
I don't know what's worse.
Giggle shits is when you laugh and make yourself fart.
I'll take the squirrel.
And that's the name of the song.
I'll take the squirrel.
God
damn it, Zachary. And now you know why Charlie loves you so much. He's like...
That's the giggle shits.
Okay, I was just going to say, unpopular opinion, but playing devil's advocate.
A lot of this is going to be unpopular opinion.
Which is no stranger for us. Like, we're used to being unpopular.
I think that in some cases, ghostwriters may not want their name on the covers.
Right.
They might like to be able to kind of see their work, go out there, do great things, but they don't want to have to deal with all of the publicity or all of the marketing.
So what you're saying, Layla, is that you would be a ghostwriter because you don't want any of the publicity.
If I could write.
Well, you're a wonderful editor.
Well, that's another premise to it, but still, then that's a difficult one. That's a gray area. Again, it's not all going to be the 100% because I understand the areas and usages of ghostwriting, but 90% of it I just don't think is the right thing.
I feel so weird about it because in the event that, yes, like say you're a great prolific writer, but you don't want anybody to know your name.
Pen name.
It still feels, I feel like as an author, it's very easy to be anonymous. Like, I mean, look at some of these, like, erotica authors. Like, none of these writers write under their own name. That would be insane.
Well, and even look at it like, you have some authors that they're like that. They're introverted. They don't want to be out there and be famous. And they also might... I'll be honest, this is actually a bullshit practice, and I really don't like it. I think it's rude as shit. But if the author agrees to it, that's their beef. Where some authors will get models to be their author photo. And it's not actually the author on the back of the book in that, like, cute little pose. That's some, model that they chose. Because the author might... Like I said, the author might not want to see their face. sometimes I've heard of instances, and I won't point out names, where the author just was not attractive, and so rather than that, they had this actor pretend to be that author in public. It's rude as shit. But again, if you're the author,
I don't know
and
if
you
it's
agree to it,
rude, but it's one thing if you're writing the book under your name, but you don't want your face out there. It's another if you have done nothing and you're just
no. I'm saying, I'm sorry. We're talking about like being anonymous. I'm saying that there are ways.
There are
authors
ways to be anonymous.
maintain anonymity.
Yeah, I mean, I write male romance, and so do a ton of my friends. They usually use like caricatures of themselves as their author photos. On books, they don't even put their author photo. It's like not worth it. I mean, it's not like anybody's embarrassed of what they do. It's just you want to kind of maintain a line when you're writing
Well, that's
romance, especially since a lot of us have muggle jobs that might be like,
well, it's kind of like, we've joked about me writing erotica, and I've honestly said, as long as my
that would be a
grandmother's...
joke. No,
Wow.
I'm just kidding.
As long as my grandmother's alive, I can't even like dabble into the subject, because she reads absolutely everything. I couldn't do it.
Well, how would she find out unless you were like, hey, grandma, writing porn now, but don't read it.
Do you remember when you had me read Nora Roberts? Check this shit out. By the way, we love Nora Roberts, and we're going to talk about that a lot more. But, so sorry if you're listening right now. I feel like we're going to be all over the place because there's so many facets to ghostwriting.
Yeah.
And that's just, each one of these is just like a little paragraph.
But just know that we're going to offend somebody.
Absolutely. So here's my deal. If you're an author and you have to use ghostwriting, I'm sorry, but you need to give them a credit in there. You cannot, like, for your example, I can't finish the book, shit came up with something, they need to get a co-written by credit or something like that. I'm sorry. I think that the person that wrote it should get credit. Now, one other pushback that I've heard is, I'm a ghostwriter, and I'm a really good writer, because you have the people, it's like the science and the art mind. And you'll have people that are good one way or the other. So you might have people that are fantastic writers, but they're not creative to come up with their own stories. I think in that circumstance, the ghostwriter would be that person that's not very creative. I think it should go the other way. They should buy story ideas from other authors and then write it. Because the elevator speech concept of it, frankly, there's creativity in that, but that's not a lot of work. If the ghostwriter can then create it from there and just get that inspiration, I think that's different. And I don't think you're ghostwriting. I think you're the author, and you should still get credit for it.
Yeah, I have such a hard time, like, really articulating it, because on the one hand, like, I don't feel like somebody who has never written a book has a right to whatever accolades and awards
100% agree
that somebody else's hard work has produced. Like, and maybe that's just vanity, and it's like, I'm the one who puts in all of these hours writing, and then you swoop in and grab an award that you never... I'm sorry. I am horribly distracted by whatever is happening with your dog right now.
He's old, and he does that. He spins to make it comfortable because his bones roll. He has arthritis. So he tries to make it as fluffy and comfortable as possible, and then he'll plop down. He gets frustrated. You'll hear him huffing and sniffing.
There he goes. Oh,
Logie, lay down, buddy boy. You can do
so
it.
cute. You're cute too. Jesus, stop staring at me so accusingly. Good God.
Two more.
Zach. No. But yeah, like because I understand ghostwriters have a right to make a living. Like,
no.
And at some point, like, I had even thought about when I was working from home. Like, I used to do articles for Livestrong.com. If you ever look up my name, you'll find literally like 500 healthcare articles that are like just little 500-word like healthcare articles that I wrote when I was working from home. And I was like, oh, well, if I was a ghostwriter, like, I could probably make a decent living. And I was like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, why would I give somebody else credit for something that I put that much work into? And
oh my Jesus fucking Christ.
That wasn't my dog, because his ass is right here.
I think it was either Layla or Old Man Milk Farts.
Well, he's licking his ass, and Layla is not, so I'm going to go with...
I'm happy Layla's not licking his ass.
Or hers. Though, if she was, fucking yoga master.
Yoga!
But I just don't feel... it's so hard, because like,
there's so many facets to what ghostwriting is.
I feel like if you're a ghostwriter, good on you, but at the same time, like, no, fucking have some pride. Like, want your
the
name,
beef
want
almost
your
isn't
credit.
with you. I'll be honest. Is more I think about it. It's with the author benefiting from you. Is more so where my problem is. Now, like I said, there are aspects where it's like, no, but that's ghostwriting. Like you said, they're having problems putting the story together. You're not That's not a ghostwriter. That's a content editor.
Well, but it's not, because there's literally a job in the traditional publishing world called a book doctor. And say somebody's put out like 2 or 3 bestsellers, and then their 4th book comes in and it's just a hot mess, and they just keep sending it back to edits, and it's just not where it needs to be. Then they bring in a book doctor who looks at their other work and then basically tries to emulate it and fix what's there, and not in an editing way, but in a, I'm just going to take this and fix it. Like, you no longer have a say.
But then in that, though, I would still argue that, like, my conjecture there would be that author still worked it. They still
Right, that's what I'm saying.
It's an editing.
But it's still a ghostwriting job, because you're not going to get credit for the work that you do on this book. Like, nobody will ever know that you had a part in it. And that, even then, I kind of feel like I get it, because the publisher has a lot of money on the line. And now it's too late. You're in the,
yeah,
you're at the end of the line, and it's got to come out, so they're buying. But chances are, after that, there's gonna be a talk where they're like, okay, maybe we need to let this writer go, from their contract, or whatever. We have to do something. But at the same time, like, when you're not a writer. If you've never written a book, you're not a writer. You're just not.
So, and like I said, my shot there is to authors. Complete air quotes around that phrase as I'm sitting here. Authors that you just spit like an elevator speech at a ghostwriter and they pen it for you. You're not an author. Fight me now. You're not an author. You did not write the book. You did not draft it. You didn't do shit.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we don't begrudge you like being a fucking ghostwriter. But at the same time, it's just like,
we essentially, with that, we want you to get more credit.
Yeah,
like I said,
we want you to get the credit you deserve.
Yeah, also written by, or co-written by is sort of a deal. But even then, the co-written by thing, they better have some fucking skin in that game too. I'm all about you because everything that we've had in the indie world, everything we all get, we fight and claw for. And have other people kind of benefit off the hard work and effort of others aggravates the ever-loving piss out of me.
Well, we've talked about the whole... I don't know if we talked about these in old episodes or in the new ones, but with James Patterson and, all of his books now say, and with a co-writer.
Those are the old ones, yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I don't even know if this is canon fact or if this is just, like, a rumor. But, like, the rumor is that he doesn't write any books anymore, but the person whose name is also on the book is the actual, like, say, ghostwriter, so to speak, and they didn't co-write the book together. Like, either he came up with the idea and they wrote it, whatever, but both their names are on it. But to that effect, you kind of think, okay, well, that makes more sense than what I had originally thought, which was the publishing company was like, let's just throw James Patterson's name across the top and give instant credibility to our new author, like, straight out the gate, and just make them like an instant bestseller, which will help our bottom line. So either way, I mean, kudos. It probably works to the benefit of all, which I don't really hate on, because like everybody's getting the credit that they're due. Like, James Patterson wrote his own books in the beginning. Do you know what I mean? Even if he's not doing it now, he still did the work in the beginning to become a bestseller. It's not like they just picked him off the street and dusted him off, and we're just like...
But now it's that delicate line because they're just benefiting off his name. Like I said, I have friends right now that are doing that. They're co-writing with another author, with another very, very much bigger author. I know that grammatically that was a terrible, shitty sentence, but I don't care.
Zach is not one of them.
Yeah. Wow, bitch. But they're writing it, and then they submit it, and then the big author is like, love this chapter, hate this chapter, fix it. There's no back and forth as far as fixing it, and then when this book comes out, it is going to be big name author written with littler name author. Ethically I have a problem with that. I understand the business mechanics behind it, but ethically I have an issue with that.
Well, I also know a couple of authors who...
But it's not her or his issue for trying to get their name out.
No. Again, I'm not. My point to that is just like ghostwriting. It's the author that actually is doing the work is not getting the credit. Again, you know what I mean? It's
right,
big
but
name.
What if, for example, in the situation you gave, that's a marketing ploy. It's like, I know I don't have the name to make the sales, and I don't have the money for the budget for the marketing. So if I write this book, let this other author slap their name on it, I get instant credibility, I get a bigger fan base, I got their marketing budget, their marketing people.
Like, right, so then my question becomes from a reader standpoint then, does that affect your wanting to buy the book if you find out that the author whose name you bought it for actually had very little to do with the content of the story?
If I'm reading something like my favorite book is The Hobbit, if it's like book by J.R.R. Tolkien and Zachary Chopchinsky, and I love Tolkien's prose. I love the way that he writes those stories, and then I'm reading it to where Martina's going, and it's not that style because it was written by me. It was written by the other author.
But that's
I'm missing out. I'm missing that.
And all of a sudden, Tolkien's kneecapping lesbians left and right, and you're just like,
what
the hell?
one lesbian. I kneecapped one lesbian, and she's gonna be a Banff in this next book. So,
but only with one kneecap.
Well, she's gonna have this sweet ass mechanical leg now.
Sorry, I have to always throw in the kneecapping lesbians.
Yeah, wait till we're off mics and I tell you how that's going to play out.
But to kind of come back to that question, then what if it's not that the other author has no say in it. The author, for example, Tolkien in your example, he is reading everything that you're submitting, every chapter, and says, no, I wouldn't say this. No, I wouldn't say this. I would change this. I would rewrite this. I would do this. And it's being edited content-wise by the author you love. So by the end product, it's passable as that author.
But then the author isn't the author. The author is the editor.
That's what I was just going to say.
You know?
Again,
it's such a weird gray area. And so many people online are like, mind your own fucking business. What's it to you?
Right.
You know? And I mean, it's because we all have skin in the game. Like we're all, you know, I mean, I work 40 hours a week as an RN and I run a publishing company with 3 fucking authors underneath me. And I try to write 1 to 2 huge books a year. Like, it's absolutely maddening trying to keep up with my schedule and do all the fucking things I do and do this podcast and like and you know, have a fucking kid and all this other stuff. Yes, I know, I realized that I made that like a really big afterthought, but in my defense, my child is a fully grown married adult. So like, but all of this stuff, like it just gets piled on and I'm like in therapy because I can't write fast enough for people and get angry emails in my fucking email like, when's this next book coming out? And then there's people pumping out a book a month, but it's because they're not even writing them. And
that's also not begrudging people that can actually write that fast or anything like that. Because when we mentioned this before, Martina especially, that the people are, I write a book a month.
Yeah.
No. We're not
I got a lot of, I resent you saying that anybody who writes a book a month has a ghostwriter or a scammer. That's not what I'm saying at all. And I know I'm not implying that. I am saying that that the scammers on fucking Amazon do hire ghostwriters, or they're a team of ghostwriters, and they pump out these books. And, you know, like there's a rumor that Bella Forrest, and I don't even think it's a rumor, that she's a conglomerate of writers, which is how they pump out so many books. But you think about how her books are the top, 10 slots in so many different categories. And those slots all have $25,000 bonuses a month, $15,000, $5,000, $10,000 bonuses a month. And all that money goes into a pool and then they all get paid for it. Which, kudos to them for figuring out a way to, like, I guess, scam the system. But that's not really fair to those of us who are pumping out, like, 2 books a year, which used to be considered fucking prolific when everybody was tradpub. Like, you know, I mean, look at the big name authors. If they put out 1 book every 1.5 to 2 years, it's like, holy shit. You know, I mean, fucking George R.R. Martin's on book 6 and he's been writing for 25 years the same series. Like, and that was not necessarily normal, but people were like, hey, you know, he writes in it's his process. But now that's not good enough. Now it's like you have to put out book if you want to make any money. I mean, there's entire Facebook groups that are like, oh, you want to make $100,000 a year? Well, hope you have 30 titles under your belt in that year, you know, and that puts the pressure on the rest of us. So when people are hiring ghostwriters or, you know, doing this sort of shady, underhanded stuff, yeah, it affects the whole market. It is our business, and it matters.
Yep, I agree. And it's you're setting a bar that's difficult to, and I'm not saying that's a problem with you if you're the one that's pumping out a book a month legitimately. I'm getting that.
Exactly.
I understand that. You know, it also might be a little bit more of a mechanical storyline, maybe a plug and play. But anyway, but not always, but
some people that's their full-time job.
I know, and
they don't have kids. Their husband works, or their wife, whoever is not the writer in the relationship, works a full-time job, so they're home by themselves for 8 hours.
And they have the opportunity. No. Again, I'm not knocking that, but it's just, you know, when we have,
it is possible to do.
And
but
also
it's not feasible for most people to do.
Layla's playing damage control this this episode because she thinks we're trying to blow up our careers.
No, that's not. I'm just saying.
She's defending people, and I get it, but it's still, like I said, Martina said the phrase exactly, and it's what I was saying in the last one too. It's that skin in the game, and when you're using ghostwriters to that respect, you have none. You're not an author. You're not a writer. You didn't do shit. Sorry.
And there's also a new scam that I'm finding very interesting.
The change the cover, change the title scam?
Yeah, and I didn't know this was a thing until Susan Tisdale brought it up. And apparently there are secret Facebook groups that certain authors are members of, and they basically hire ghostwriters and they write a story. And then after they throw it up on Amazon, and after a few months, when it basically falls off the cliff, like books do after 30 days, they then take it into the group and they sell it to another author who changes the cover, changes the title, obviously changes the the author name, and then in some cases changes the pronouns of the characters, either to the opposite, change it to male, change it to female, whatever, and then re-put it up on Amazon and make their money and then get rid of it again. And I'm sorry, but that is just straight up scamming. That's just scamming. Like, that's not being clever. That's not being cool. Like, you didn't write it the first time. They didn't write it the second time. And really, it's just, it cheapens the whole fucking market, and that's what pisses me off the most. I know I sound very soapboxy about this, but it's true. You're just diluting the market. You're just making it harder and harder for legitimate authors who do write good stories and put in the work to fucking be heard. It's basically screaming into the abyss. If you look at fucking Amazon, there are millions of titles to choose from, and I promise you, a good 500,000 of them are probably not worth the paper they're printed on.
Well, and then they'll do that sort of thing, right? They recycle that thing, and they're just like jerking off these fucking storylines, and they're skeeting all over the paper some bullshit where they're just, and then they're gonna sell it for 99 cents until it's burnt out. Mm-hmm. And then let's pull that, change pronouns, change the author, change the cover page, sell it to some other asshole, and they're gonna burn it out for 99 cents, make a couple
because
grand.
Because it doesn't matter, because they're gonna put it in KU, and then they're just gonna live off the page as read, which again, it just fucks the rest of us. And it also, like, it cheapens the Kindle Unlimited program, which I feel like at some point started with the best of intentions. You know what I mean? Like, it's so great for people who like to read as much as I do, and you like, to be able to pay $10 a month and have access to stories that, like, if I had to pay $5 to $10 for every book I read in one whole month, I'd be broke. I'd be flat out broke. So it's kind of like having almost like a library subscription that you just pay $10 a month for. So I think it started off with the best of intentions, but then it's just become a way for scammers. There's click farms where people are literally just clicking through books. And, so then when Amazon goes and does these, like, raids, as I like to call them, where they just go through and just start looking for scammers, sometimes legit authors get caught up in the crossfire because they just happen to have a good month, or they, put up an ad that worked and they're like, oh no, that's weird that suddenly you have all these pages read. So we're just going to cancel your whole account and sorry about your shit luck. So like a lot of people are getting caught in the
and there's so much that goes into this. If you're an author and you're out there, you should be furious about these things too, because as we all complain, especially from the indie circuit, because this is unfortunately indie driven. A lot of this is from the indie world driven. The big trad pubs don't play this. They play their own games, but this is the kind of stuff that gets milked from the indie system. And then we all wonder and get frustrated with why, oh, Amazon has this new algorithm, and Amazon's dumping this, and they're saying that we now have to spend $20 a year in that country to be able to review books and products and stuff. These are the reasons why. They catch people scamming it, they get down to the basic structural mechanics of how they did the scam, and then they fix it on their end. So, yeah, Amazon pisses us off, and they keep, frankly, fucking a lot of us over, but this is the kind of stuff that causes that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why we kind of like have very strong opinions on this stuff. But yeah, so can we find a way to lighten this up? Because I feel like people are going to be like,
right? They're gonna be like, we came for the bullshit.
Yeah,
what's with this book horse
where's
shit?
This book stuff?
Yeah.
We don't care. We're not authors.
Yeah, we came for bullshit, not book shit. So
yeah,
let's be funny.
Yeah. Ba-dum-bum.
Ha-cha-da-cha-cha. So, anyway, yeah. So, ghostwriting. Big bummer.
Yeah. Ghostwriting. Don't do it.
Yeah. It's not cool no matter what your friends say. No, I'm kidding. And if you're a ghostwriter out there, I get, no shame on your game. Do you. But I'm all about
we're
credit
definitely
giving.
not trying to shame people who are ghostwriters, even though it seems like we're trying to ruin their
We
careers.
don't book shame or kink shame in this room.
That's right. Like, if you're fucking somebody else's man, we're more mad at that man than you if you're single.
True. It's funny, like when you catch people cheating, you always want to whoop the other person's ass though.
That's just what kills me. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna get real basic white girl right now and talk about Khloe Kardashian and Tristan Thompson. Because, yeah, just bear with me because there's a reason that I'm going here right now. So, apparently, Tristan Thompson and Khloe Kardashian, they have 2 kids together. 1 kid, 2 kids. I don't know, whatever. They got
Either way,
they got
sad.
babies. So it turns out that Khloe's little sister, not Kendall, but the other one, Kylie.
I have no idea.
Kylie's best friend, Jordan Woods, banged Tristan Thompson. So immediately, Khloe Kardashian and Kylie Jenner took to Twitter, as one does, and starts just unloading on Jordan Woods, talking mad shit about her. I guess Kylie Jenner had a lip set that was named after her. She immediately slashed it to half price, which I thought was the most petty but hilarious shit I've ever seen.
I'm not going to take it down and not profit from
I
it.
know, right?
I'm gonna make it half off because you're a
I'm gonna make
whore.
you a cheap whore.
Right. But in this whole thing, so Khloe says, Jordan Woods ruined my relationship with Tristan Thompson. No. Because one, when she was pregnant, he cheated on her with a different girl, some stripper or something. So she knew going into it that he likes to fuck other girls. Jordan Woods might have been an accomplice, but she is not the main offender. She is not in your relationship. He is, but somehow she's like deflecting like bullets while he just quietly skates off and is just like, oh, well, that's just what we do, And that's the shit that I can never stand, is like when somebody goes after the other person as if they somehow persuaded them into, like, you can't, somebody can't talk you into something you don't want to at least have a little bit of a, interest in. Like, you didn't slip and fall inside her. Like, that's just not what happened. So that just kind of made me think of that, because I was reading the other day how, like, yes, I can't help it. They're everywhere. Like, but I was reading, like
is
how
anybody
she
else
said,
listening disappointed that Martina's as up on the Kardashians as I am? Because
I don't watch the show, but I can't help but see the bullshit on, like, Twitter and, like, it's everywhere. It's on my Facebook page. It's on Twitter. But it's like a train wreck. Like, I guess I'm just fascinated by the fact that a sex tape has subjected this entire world and affected us for how many years now? 15?
And I don't even think, I honestly,
they're like an STD. Like, it's like
They probably
15
have a
years
few.
ago, we all ended up with herpes. And it's like they just keep flaring up every season with another fucking scandal.
I just don't understand, like, because I mean, maybe it's because they're all so done up and fake, but I don't find any of them attractive. And I don't know how the Kim Kardashian sex tape launched them so heavy.
Well, okay, first off, Kim Kardashian, back when she looked like a human and not like a sex doll, was actually really cute with her old nose and her just regular body. She was like a cute girl. She was, she's all right. But like, they had a picture of her standing in a bikini, in a white bikini.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
you see that? It's like, since when did looking like a wisdom tooth from the waist down become sexy? And I'll be damned if that's not exactly what she looks like. Her body is deformed from all of these butt transfers and like fat transfers and butt injections. Ever since I've watched Botch, I never realized how dangerous that is. Guys, you should really look into that. Lots of people get fat embolus from that and die of blood clots. So maybe don't take the fat out of your stomach and inject it in your ass. Thank you. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I'm Martina, and that's what I think.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I really don't understand the appeal of that weird, misshapen.
It's funny you say that. I was watching this video the other day about is the people that come to the U.S. and it was this Irish girl comes to the U.S. and this is her experiences, and some of them are just hilarious because I'm like, yeah, that's gonna happen if you do that. Like, oh, well, I'm surprised we went to Los Angeles and we wanted to go and see a real American neighborhood and whatever. So like a 20-year-old pale white light-skinned girls from Ireland, first time in the U.S. take a city bus in L.A. to Compton and start walking around. They're like, there were these gangs and people were so mean. Is that what America's like? It's like, no, but you're an idiot. You didn't do your research and you walked around one of the worst areas in our entire country.
It's like going to Ireland and going to Belfast in the 80s and being like, is everybody a terrorist?
Yeah. But she was saying that there's interesting because she goes, America has two body types. She goes, people that are fitness obsessed and just jacked and all this plastic surgery, everything, or people that are just don't care, or that are bigger or stand.
Basically, you're either super fit or fat. Period. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, they're like that's all there is in the U.S. And she goes, and sometimes there's such extremes. She goes, I've traveled all over the place, and it seems like in the U.S. the only place I've ever been where there's two body types. Pick one.
Well, and it's funny because the perfect example is I was raised in South Florida, where everybody's obsessed with plastic surgery. Everybody wants to be skinny and tan and perfect. So it's kind of like Hollywood light. Everybody thinks they're in LA, they're just not. But I was always either overweight or just average. And I never realized that average was okay in other places until I met Michaela's father and I went to Virginia Beach, Virginia. And for the first time ever, size 14 was sold in the regular sizes. Size 12s were in the regular sizes. In South Florida, 12s and 14s used to be in the plus size section. Probably still are in some places. Now size 8 is plus size. But, yeah, I know. There's tissues over there. But it's crazy because then I got there and so many of his friends were flirting with me and telling me how hot I was and how beautiful I was. And I was just like, am I in another fucking universe? It was just so strange and such a weird dichotomy between being average was okay. You could be pretty in a size 8, you could be pretty in a size 14, and it didn't have any kind of negative connotation in other places. Whereas in Florida, if you were over a size 6, you might as well just fucking pack it in, slit your wrists, you're just done. So it was very strange to me at 21 to sort of come to that realization that oh, okay, maybe I am just average size and not morbidly obese like they've been telling me for the first 20 years of my existence. Of course, then I immediately had a baby and did become morbidly obese, but that's another story for my therapist.
Well, that's it's all how the culture and things change. There's the Valley in California has become so expensive to live. If your collective home income is less than $120,000 a year, you're considered below the poverty line.
That's how it is in Colorado. That's how it's been in Colorado for years. And if you make under 150,000, you can actually like collect benefits and shit in certain places in Colorado. Well, now they're just giving money away in Colorado because pot's legal and they're just swimming in it.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit.
The mayor is doing backflips through $100 bills in a pool. Like, they're just like, you know what? We made so much money this year, guys. We're just giving everybody like a $10,000 check. And then he's like on the media, like, you said don't legalize pot. You know, doing his happy dance.
I'm sorry, pats his forehead with a wad of hundreds.
Yeah, exactly. Whew, it's hot in here.
Yeah. You guys were saying?
Yeah. So anyway, what we're saying is legalize pot everywhere so we can all be bajillionaires.
Fucking right. It's like, for years they've been saying if we were to legalize pot and treat it like we do tobacco, make it a cash crop, our country would be in the black in under 4 years.
Well, you know it's coming. Like, if you're watching what's happening politically and the way certain companies are positioning themselves to give money to certain people, like all these, was the people who create the vapes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, all of a sudden, they're starting to put money into, like, pot legislation. And they're gonna come in on the back end, and they're gonna swoop in there, and all these little mom and pop growers are gonna be, like, pushed out. That's AOC, was it Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Like, that was one of the things she was saying was, like, you guys should protect the people who've been in it from the beginning, who really know their stuff and who have like done the science and the research and have all these strains for different things. Like, protect those people when you make it legal. Don't allow corporations to just come in and wipe all them out, you know, after they laid all the groundwork. But it's coming, and you can see all these corporations positioning themselves and paying off the right legislatures, and pretty soon it's gonna like boom, like, and
well, in these small little mom and pop growers, we have an associate that may or may not be a small mom and pop grower, and he or she does a really good job. They, as we call them collectively, they have shown different things, and it's amazing the different types of treatments that certain marijuana strains can treat. And there was, as they were showing us the different ones, is, oh, this bag is this. The crystals act in this way, and they bomb into you like this, and so this will actually help you eat. For people with eating disorders or have body issues that keeps them from eating, like if they're going through like chemo things like that. Yeah. This will actually give you an appetite. This one has these types of crystals, and it's cross-trained with this. And what this does is this helps you overcome stress anxieties and helps you sleep naturally. Yes. And she's just going through the science. They are just going through all the science. May or may not be boy or woman. And going through all these things. And it's just interesting that there's that much in it. And none of it's modified. None of it's chemically. It's all like, no, we crossed this strain with this strain and got this, and then we took that and crossed it with this strain, and now it does that. And it's just natural plants that they're growing and crossbreeding. There's no, we treated it with dihydrogen monoxide. Yes, that's water, but follow along anyway. And you know, we growed it with this chemical, and now we soak it in this liquid, and now it does this. It's a plant growing with another plant, and now it helps people eat, sleep, de-stress, relax, or function.
Well, and the drops are like people who have had hundreds of seizures a day now have like 1 or 2. It's like actually letting people like function for the first time in a long time. And you know, I work for, you know, a huge corporation, you know, as a nurse, and like they're all very much off the books, like pro marijuana and the things that it can do. But unfortunately, you just like they're just waiting for it to be legal so that they can really like start prescribing it, because I know for a fact that more doctors would prescribe it if they were allowed to, because right now the only thing on the market that's even close to it is Marinol, and honestly it helps somewhat until it doesn't. But you know, I know a lot of people who have to go off book and just like and get pot from people who like are friends of theirs and stuff. And we're lucky because we do know a lot of growers that live far, far away. And, you know, but they do have the organic stuff, and they do have strains that, you know, help with seizures, or they help with hunger, or they help with pain. And like, but they can't advertise that. It has to be like a side business. It has to be something that they do on the down low, that they just help for their friends and stuff like that, because they're not allowed to be growers. They're not allowed to even medical marijuana. Like, you have to jump through a million hoops to get that card to allow you to be a dealer, and it's all going to become
not a dealer, a grower.
Well, no, but like to a dispensary. That's the word I'm looking for. To be a dispensary, you have to have a certain license, and it costs tons and tons and tons of money. And I mean, sure, you make decent money, but it's as soon as the legislature changes, it's going to be a whole different game. And then I don't think you'll be able to trust the strains you get anymore from anything that's corporate. I think they're gonna ruin it.
Just like farmers markets, that's where you're gonna get the organic scene, and then they can flourish.
I guarantee you, what they're gonna do is they're going to make it illegal for these small mom and pop people to grow it. This is going to
be another thing Monsanto is going to come in and just
skull
fuck.
And they're going to decriminalize pot. They're going to probably, get rid of all of the people who were thrown in jail for the last 10 years for pot related offenses. But then they're going to start putting those same people back for much longer sentences for dispensing, for dispensing those drugs now illegally.
Infuriates me is when people I went to prison for this drug crime. Okay, new legislation, that's no longer legal. Okay, can I get out of fucking prison then if that's not illegal?
Well, I'm hoping that's what they're going to do, but now that we have for-profit prisons, but that's another story. But I think the Curtains wanted to say something.
But how do they prove that you're smoking, or eating, or however you're taking it? Pot from a registered company versus Joe from down the street.
I guess they would catch them either growing it or selling it illegally. They wouldn't come after the people
that are growing it are already growing it underground, so it's not like they really have to hide any more than they already are.
Right, but that's my point. Those people, but I'm saying that if they got busted, it would be much longer sentences, because now they're going to start. They want to discourage people from that. So they're going to make it harsher sentences.
Probably.
Because that's the world we live in. Holy shit, this is a heavy episode. We're going to do something funny next. We're going to make Zach read all kinds of porn as Morgan Freeman.
Oh, God.
That's exactly how it's going to sound.
Yeah, so that's all I got for this. Sorry, guys. We'll cut this one off, and we'll get into the next portion of this, because isn't there a part trois to this?
There is, but maybe we'll just can that for now, do something funny, and then come back to it. So that we were going to talk about the whole writing to market, but we kind of covered that, I think.
I think we did as well, because a couple parting shots in that one.
Let's talk about it now.
Yeah, I was gonna say we can just knock that a little bit out of that, because we were talking about a little bit more in that, in writing the market, and that's something that you can do. Again, it's a quick turn and burn, and this is popular. It reminds me of in Zoolander, where he's like, so hot right now.
Yeah, it's very popular, and it's actually funny because it's almost like you can predict the next hot thing depending on what's on television.
Frankly.
Well, yeah, but as soon as the Vampire Diaries and the original spun off Legacies, which is the spin-off that has to do with the magic school that Alaric creates, where he has all supernatural creatures, I knew Academies was going to be the next big thing. Because, I mean, back in the day, the Vampire Academy was huge, and it was ripe to make a resurgence. You know what I mean? It was ready. And so, I was having a discussion with Molly, because she likes to do pre-mades, and I was just yeah, I'm right now, these Academy books are super hot. I was so pre-mades are where it's at for sure. Because people are just turning and burning, and they just pop out these books. And granted, the people who are really popular right now for putting out 10, 20 books a year, I don't read their stuff. And it's not because they write to market. It has nothing to do with that. Honestly, I'm just too fucking busy to read right now. And when I do, I don't generally read in my genre anymore, because I think it just gets too much in my head. So I don't really know what the plots are. I don't really know, I feel like I can't speak necessarily intelligently on whether their plots are formulaic or whether they have time to do the world building, because I don't know. I haven't read them. And when they do co-writing, I feel like it gives more validity to putting out a book a month, because I know that when Molly and I were co-writing, it took us like 2 days to really come up with a great cohesive outline, and then we were just back and forth writing a chapter. And when you have somebody rating for that next chapter, it makes you more steady in your oh my god, my brain, like it just makes you stick with your timeline better, like, because somebody's expecting something from you. Whereas when you only have your own internal timeline, you're like, fuck me, I'm never gonna follow through. Like, what am I gonna do to myself? Nothing. I'm just gonna watch another episode of Netflix. Like,
Netflix has episodes?
Netflix has all the episodes. Every episode of everything.
I've never watched an episode of Netflix, though.
Zach, you were watching an episode yesterday.
Of Netflix?
On Netflix.
You said
you
of.
Absolute piece of shit. You knew what I meant. Shut the fuck up. Go back to playing with your dick or whatever the fuck you were doing over there.
And?
But, like, so when you're writing with a co-writer, I see how you can knock out books really quickly, because you do have the back and forth, and you're only writing half a book, essentially. So, yeah, it makes it a little bit more realistic to me that you can knock out books. And there are some writers who just have done this for so long that they feel like they can put out a book with minimal editing, and they had like 10 books that they wrote beforehand before they started putting them out, so they're always ahead of their curve and their timeline. Like, and I understand that, and I don't begrudge people that. I really don't, but it does still affect the rest of us. And I know that's like, fuck you, who cares? That's not my problem, because I feel like that's pretty much what a lot of these people are saying. Not my fucking problem. Figure it out. Work on your own shit, and don't worry about what I'm doing. But we do worry about that, obviously, because, again, it affects us all, and it affects our timelines and our market. And Zach has completely checked out of the conversation and is watching videos.
No, I haven't.
Oh, I'm sorry. He popped in to basically make fun of me for 2.5 seconds, but now he's gone again.
I was listening to that whole fucking thing. Just because I'm watching a weird video doesn't mean shit.
What did I say?
You said Anzac completely fucking checked out of the conversation. Sorry, I was posting on our social media, and then I got distracted by a video. Somebody was using Sailor Moon's hair as a spoon.
Oh, well, then I can see why that was totally worth sidelining our podcast.
You're talking about
totally
talking
cool.
about co-writing books. You're only writing half in the outlines, and I get it.
Wow. And for the next 10 minutes, Zach's going to talk. Go. Yep, exactly. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Can we also talk about, did we mention earlier when we were discussing this?
He wouldn't know because he wasn't paying attention.
Do you feel better?
A little bit. I'm tired of carrying this entire podcast, Zach.
What did I say earlier? I didn't want you to be Dr. Martina and me be fucking shits and giggles.
Right, so I'm still Dr. Martina, except you didn't even bother to bring the shits or the giggles.
I brought the shits earlier, but you yelled at me.
Like, you're just over there fucking like a fucking mute.
I'm fucking a mute.
That would be more entertaining than you just sitting over there silently twiddling your dick.
Not, for the record, I kind of
You kind of were.
I kind of was. I get nervous sometimes, and I helicopter, and it makes me feel better. So, anyway, shit, now I lost my train of thought. I was actually going to a place with points and structure. And
Were you?
I was. It involved Nora Roberts.
And twiddling your dick.
And twiddling my dick. Well, I mean, you know, those go hand in hand. Maybe that's why I started twiddling my dick reflexively, because I knew I was going to start talking about Nora Roberts. And be just like, woo! Who put the bop in the bop? Shoo bop, shoo bop. Fuck! Alright, so... You're not helping with sound effects right now. God! No, we were talking earlier, we were talking about Nora Roberts. And how she even challenged the unrealistic expectations of authors putting out a book a month. And she didn't even speak to, like, how the people were pushing back on you with legitimacy of, oh, I'm able to do that. She didn't give a shit. She was saying that authors that put out a book a month, that write to market, that have multiple authors that write on one book, things like that, and then also are the quote, she didn't say this, I'm quoting somebody else, but the Walmart of books selling these books monthly for 99 cents. She goes, you are also killing the industry because you're not allowing people to actually cultivate an effective work.
Right, and I think that also when you make the expectation less and less and less, like, I mean, on the one hand, it does, when you do write something that knocks it out of the park, people are just like, ooh, ah. But at the same time, like, it just, I feel like it's dumbing down people.
Agree.
Like,
it's like
they're
idiocracy.
Right. They are expecting less and less. Like, when you go to Walmart, you're not expecting, like, fucking filet mignon, you know what I mean? Like, you're ground beef.
No.
Like,
when you go to Walmart, you're not expecting filet mignon. You're getting filet mignon.
yeah, like, it's just, and that's just the thing. Like, okay, you can just turn them and burn them and put them out, like, as fast as humanly possible. And yeah, maybe you are the 1 in 10 writer that's just, like, knocking it out of the park once a month with your prolific, you know, world building and all this other stuff. But chances are you're not.
I won't speak too much to it because I don't want to jinx it, but I have an opportunity coming up that I'm really looking forward to. But there's one aspect that I've been designing the conversation that I'm having, and it's writing.
Oh God, I hope it's not reading, or Zach's never going to get through it.
Wow, bitch. Writing is a lot like cooking, right? Like you're creating something from scratch, and it's supposed to satiate something. It's supposed to satisfy the reader.
Theoretically.
Theoretically. Now, it's kind of like cooking. You can cook a well-balanced gourmet meal, or you can get fast food. And a lot of this shit is the mental equivalent to fast food. And while that's good, at a certain point, it's going to be unhealthy for the industry, for the readers. You're dumbing things down.
Yeah, and the key to write to market is to find what's hot right now and emulate it.
So hot right now.
But you know what I mean? Like, and emulate it. Like, oh, Academy books? Okay, I'm just going to throw up Academy books. I'm going to throw every trope in there that I can.
Trilogies was a big one.
And that's what it is, though. But, like, these Academy books, they're all trilogies. They're all just knocked out really fast. And they're like, give them what they want right now. So if it's mythology, then that's what they write. And they all have, like... But I feel like they all have the same storyline and the same formula. And then they just kind of plug and play with the characters and who they are.
I have not read any of your Academy books. Let me know how this works out for you. Young student comes into Academy, out of place, has to meet friends. There's a bully. They're not friends. Bad things happen. The grown-ups don't listen. They have to fight. Bully and character may become friends, but not. And then in the end, the bad guy dies. Bully and a new person are friends. Graduate.
You forgot the book boyfriend.
Oh yes, and the book and the relation and the awkward teen relationships.
Yeah.
But all in all, did I just describe every one of your books? Think I did a little.
I'm just saying, like, yeah. but that's the whole thing. Like, I mean, people get up in arms about it.
Oh, and there's magic.
Yes, and there's magic.
Sorry, I forgot that. My bad. I forgot that one. There's magic too.
Yeah, I will say that this is very much predominantly a sort of YA paranormal thing.
It's almost a subgenre to itself.
Right, and also a erotica thing. Like, so I know romance authors put out a lot of books, and also YA paranormal. Like, you don't really see a lot of YA contemporary that's just kind of thrown one after the other.
Well, it really wouldn't go very far considering the fan base of it.
Right, and also a lot of contemporary young adult is one and done. There's not a lot of trilogies and stuff like that. That's very much a paranormal kind of thing. But I will say this about romance authors, and that's, they have the ability to put out books faster because a lot of them, it's really not about the editing. It's not about the world building. Because when you're dealing with a romance specifically, it's very, like, two characters. Usually the settings are incidental. You know, the settings are, like, are secondary to the romance and the sex itself. So as long as you bring the characters and the appropriate amount of angst and sex and romance, you're good. Like, that's fine. And I feel like that's the expectation for that genre. Oh, he's having a nightmare.
No, I think he's trying to chase the bunny.
He's chasing the bunny. So I feel like, and that's not just because I also write romance on the side, but I feel like the expectation is different. Whenever you bring in paranormal elements, you have to have a certain amount of world building. And I feel like a lot of times with these right-to-market books, that stuff gets lost or it becomes incidental. And then it's not as much of an immersive experience.
Again, it's like balancing food. There are flavor depths and courses and things are served in certain ways, and then there's fast food where it's here's your plate, here's your wrapper, eat it.
Right.
And you miss out on that. You miss out on those profiles and those benefits, and that's kind of, again, it's like the writing word equivalent of junk food.
And I will say this to everybody who writes to market: if you happen to have stumbled upon this podcast and you're sitting at home angry and want to write us nasty letters, know this: you probably made 10 times more money at minimum than I did last year. Yeah. So while you're angry, just know your plan is working. So it doesn't matter what we think. It doesn't matter. Like, this is just our opinion, and I'm sure you're basically railing against it at the moment, like you did when you wrote in onto my posts. But the truth is that it doesn't matter what our opinion is, because it's not going to stop you from doing what you do or making the money you make. And that's cool. But just know that it affects all of us.
I stand by our mission statement. Topics made up and your opinions don't matter.
Yeah, your opinions don't matter. And our opinions don't matter to you. Like, that's the lovely thing about opinions.
And again,
everybody has
to be honest,
them.
again, I'm not saying that people... So people that write to market or write monthly books, I'm not saying you're a bad author. I'm saying that there is a propensity for bad authors to follow that wave. And I feel like there's a lot we can definitely, if we're not careful as an industry and as a whole, and as consumers in what we want, we can facilitate a lot more garbage in our ocean of creativity, so to speak. And that's where it's up to us to make sure that we're striving for excellence, we're striving to filter out, we're striving to support one another and do what's right by the industry, by our fans, and by what we need to be doing.
Agreed.
That's my TED Talk.
Yes. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
All right, guys, that's all we got on this subject. I think the next one we're going to get a little bit more fun.
Yeah, so we'll either go into audiobooks where I'll make Zach read some random
Christ.
audio, or we'll go into the men writing women. Oh, I think that's what we're going to do.
I think we should do that one.
Yeah.
Those are hilarious.
Yeah.
Which is going to be me reading examples of men writing women characters.
And then I am going to read examples of women who turned the tables on men and wrote them in the way that they feel that men write women. And it's hilarious. So, all right, that's it. And we've lost Zach again, so I'm going to say goodbye.
No, I'm still here.
Social media.
Ah, God damn it. No, that's Zach's part now.
No.
Go ahead.
No.
You had so much to say. Yeah, last time.
You stuttered through it. I'm not.
But go ahead. If you think it's so easy, just knock them all out.
www.google.com, images, safe search off, search blue waffle is the first one. Same link, you're going to search meat spin.
Okay, since we've now
You might
proven
have to
my
scroll
point.
down.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/booksandbullshitpodcast. You can find us on Twitter at twitter.com/booksandbsp1. You can find us on Instagram at instagram.com/booksandbspodcast.
Bye!
Bye!